Welcome to the show that takes up no more than 5 minutes of your time, but could help you gain massive real estate knowledge. It's 5 Minutes in Real Estate with best-selling author Shane Willis.
Hello, it's Shane Willis, Pensacola real estate expert, bringing you today's episode. So yesterday we talked about home price sales and where they're going. 2 weeks ago I did a podcast episode talking about recession 2020. And then last week I talked about inventory problems and where we're going from there. But now, this morning, we've got a front page article in the Wall Street Journal. It says home prices slump, or home sales slump. I'm actually going to put the entire article up in the show notes so that you can read the article, see what I'm talking about. But what I kind of gleaned from it was a few bullet points, and I'm going to share those with you as today's episode. Why are home sales slumping, not home prices? We've talked about inventory problems, but let's see what the rest of the nation's doing. So this is going to be more of a national numbers, these numbers that I'm talking to you about now, not necessarily here, although I will try and bring it into Escambia and Santa Rosa County some as well. Existing home sales were down 0.6% in June. We're starting to see home sales, the number of units selling, the number of houses selling. This is the fifth time out of the last 6 months that it's been down. Man, it is nice out today. I got up early this morning and got up in the pool and I thought it was a little cool. A little windy right now, but boy, it is nice out here in July. Wow. Okay, so the numbers have declined 5 of the last 6 months. Now that is, again, the number of sales are continuing to go down nationwide. Housing, if you think about it, housing actually contributes 15 to 18% of GDP, gross domestic product. Okay, so when you see politicians on here, which we're going to start seeing a whole lot of because we entered the fall since it's a gubernatorial race and an election year, when they're starting talking about growth going to 4%, GDP growth going to 4%, I understand that housing is 15 to 18% of it. So that market takes up a good fifth. Housing led the recovery from the last recession. They let us out. Kind of, some people argue that housing led us into the recession. And this last one, yes. I talked about it 3 weeks ago, how out of the last 5 of the last 6 recessions, housing actually gained value. So this last one, housing did contribute strongly towards the crash, but it also let us out. We've had about an 8-year run now where things have been going up, especially in the market. Mortgage apps, they declined 2.5%. Here's an interesting stat that I picked up. New builds, which have been picking up the slack for the lack of inventory, new builds declined 12.3% last month. It's a month over month. They declined 12.3%. That, I really do believe, has everything to do, well, not everything, but strongly correlated with the tariffs on lumber. The president put some tariffs on lumber, and I know why he did it, especially on Canada. We had some land that we were subsidizing, and Canada was able to undercut the guys out of Oregon, the Northwest, on the lumber because they were getting subsidized already. So when we put the tariff, it actually put them on equal playing field. Well, it does affect builders if they're having to pay, 10% more, 20% more. Most of your builders, I think the article I read and I talked about, most of the builders are actually going up about $9,000 on their product. Here, locally, as I bring some local stuff into it, talked to 2 or 3 builders, all of them said they're going up about $5,000 to $7,000 because of the cost of lumber. Lumber's gone up. If you've been to Home Depot, Lowe's, you'll see that lumber's going up. So the new housing starts have declined 12.3% month over month. That's a big deal. Now, there's worry about the Fed raising rates. Fed's going to raise rates again, because remember, we talked about this about a month ago. There's more to buying a property than just the price of the property. It's also the cost of the property. And that plays a big factor when it comes to mortgages. Mortgages do play a huge factor when it comes to the cost. So we're going to see the Fed's raise rate, which is probably why we're still seeing more of an appreciation in values, because it's costing just a little bit more. The lack of inventory that we have, it hasn't slowed the growth down though. Basic high school economics, supply and demand. Our supply is still low, which means prices are still rising quite a bit in some of these lower areas. Now, the slowdown, according to the Wall Street Journal, is the bottom of the market, which is $100,000 to $250,000 nationwide. If you look at our area, that $100,000 to $250,000 is still a hyper seller's market. 100 to 150 has only 2.6 months worth of inventory. 150 to 200 has 3.2. 200 to 250 has 4.1. So that particular market in our area is still booming. It's tough to find property there, which may be why we're seeing a slowdown in the number of houses being sold, because you just can't find the property. I've got 10 buyers looking at every property I put on the market. It seems as soon as I put a property on the market, I've got showings out the wazoo, especially in that price point. But the strong price growth, that's what this is. That was my next point on this, and that was what the article said. The strong price growth actually shows the strong demand. So I'm trying to tell all this to say, don't look at the headlines, look beneath the headlines. The headline says slowing housing. No, it's just slowing housing units because we don't have enough units out there to buy. We've basically been a run on the houses. I did like that one of the economists said, listen, the housing sky is not falling. I thought that was kind of funny because that was the exact title of one of my podcasts, The Sky's Falling, Chicken Little, Chicken Little. You can go back and check that out. But I knew this was coming. You kind of see the writing on the walls. But by the time it makes the Wall Street Journal, they're usually a little bit late. The one thing that I'm noticing now, because I know that I hear all the time when I talk to all kinds of people, they go, yeah, well, you realtors are always saying that it's a good time to sell because you want to make a commission. And that's not nearly the case. There's times that I tell people it's not a good time to sell right now. We need to wait. But with inventory so low, you can maximize profits right now. But what the article went on to say is that we're starting to see an inventory growth. And if we start to see the inventory growth here in our area, then what you're going to do is I don't think you're going to see a decline in values. Instead, you're going to see a stabilization in values. So, as we continue to get more inventory on, the supply side is going to equal out to that demand side, and you'll just see a stabilization. But right now, if you're even kicking it around, we don't have that stabilization yet. So you can probably get even a few more $1,000s than you thought you could. All right, like I said, I'll put that whole article up so you can read it as well, along with some of the other links. That's all I got for you today. As always, if you're not subscribed to get the tips, tricks, graphs, infographics, get over to 5minutesinrealestate.com. It's 5minutesinrealestate.com. Also, go to your player of choice. Subscribe to the podcast, iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, YouTube. Yesterday I talked about our Facebook page. We actually changed the name of our Facebook page to, it's just facebook.com/Shane Willis, the Realtor. It's easier to find me that way. So we changed that as of today. You can get over there and like that page too. I'd appreciate it. And finally, if you found any value in this or any other episode that we do, the one thing I always ask is that you share it on social media. The sky is not falling, no matter what the Wall Street Journal says. Have a good Tuesday.